In the grand scheme of things, Gravedigger Jones and Coffin Ed Johnson are two names you don't really hear about that much in media. However, as Black History Month has just started, I kind of wanted to highlight both them and their author, Chester Himes, the first African-American writer of detective noir fiction. By the way, my name is Alyssa Hazel. I'm a self-published author of speculative fiction and horror, and obviously I am not the most qualified person to be talking about this, but at the same time, I feel like he's not talked about enough, and I just wanted to bring some awareness to him. Because I've only ever heard about him in school, and I think that's a real shame, because he's a great writer, and I think more people should be laying their eyes on him. So the two books I looked at in school are the collected works of Chester Himes, and of course, Cotton Comes to Harlem. I actually got the movie version of the book, because it was actually made into a movie with Cleavon Little and Rod Fox in there. So the collected stories of Chester Himes often leans more towards a literary fiction. I don't want to call it a slice of life, but that's kind of the closest thing I could get to with it. As somebody who's definitely an outsider looking in on his work, one of the most interesting things I found was that he was writing while we were in World War II, where we were going off to fight a very nasty man in Germany, but at the same time, segregation was still a thing, and Jim Crow laws were still a thing over in the United States. So a lot of his work focuses in on sort of the weirdness of that and the injustice of that. To partially quote James Baldwin, he undertook to sort of boil down the subconscious terror of what it was like to be a black man at that time. Because I was reading him at the time I was developing some of my early stuff, I would say I got a little bit of influence from him on how to convey very raw emotions. He's also very well known for his detective noir books, as I mentioned before. His work remains culturally relevant because his main characters, Coffin Ed and Gravedigger, are two black cops who are working in Harlem in the 1970s. And because of that, there's such a richness to his characters and themes present within that I think are very relevant, especially today. But to me, what makes him really great is the fact that he, as a writer who lived a very, very different life from what I lived, was able to basically help me understand what it was like to be him. Which is why you should go check out Chester Himes.